Hey guys, Joe here from Think Small Air Cool Performance. Today we are going to be starting this 1600cc dual port for the first time. This one was a bit of a challenge, to be honest with you. I put a lot of aftermarket parts which are really hard to fit. So let's take a look and see what all I did to it, and let's get this thing running. Now this is going in a 1968 VW Beetle. And the customer had me do a full rebuild. This was actually a core engine that I had, and it was actually kind of a mess. If you've been watching my videos, one of the studs was snapped off. Bunch of stuff on this engine was kind of bad, so we ended up redoing it all. I ended up getting some new tin. That new aftermarket tin is a pain to put on, so if you can source original, I really recommend that. Same with this intake. I had to get an aftermarket because the other one was rusted out. This engine had sat out for a long time. This clearance right here was really tough. So, like I said, I recommend getting OEM parts for this, for these engines, or VW in general, because they just don't make them quality anymore. This is an original doghouse cooler, so luckily I had one of those around. The muffler wasn't too bad to put on, which is a big surprise because a lot of the time these are a pain to put on. So right now I got all the spark plugs out. I just put the oil in. For first startups, I like to use this Lucas engine break-in oil. It's got a lot of zinc in it, which helps the camshaft break in. It's like 40 bucks for 5 quarts, but I mean, for a brand new engine, you just put like $2,500 in parts into. It's worth it. I run it for 20 minutes, let the cam break in at 2,000 RPM. You do not want to mess with the RPM range on these because that's what breaks them in. Once I do that, then I can adjust it, run it for maybe another 20 minutes. Then I drain the oil because it's, with the rings breaking in and everything wearing, it gets a lot of gunk in there. And with these stock engines, you don't have a good filtering system. So I like to run it for that about that long, drain the oil, put again that oil into it, and then run it for 100 miles. I like to just do 100 miles. Once I drop it out again, then do another 500 miles with that oil, and then drop it out and do another 1,000. And then after that, you should be pretty close to breaking in. Sometimes, depending on what rings you use and what piston kits, you may have to go a little bit longer before it fully breaks in. I've had a 40 horse that took 2,500 miles before it eventually got the rings set. But like I said, if you have different rings, it's gonna be different. I just used the AA performance rings in this build, so I've had no issues with them. So I'm gonna, with the spark plugs out, I'm gonna run it through a couple times, try to get the oil pumped through. I don't have a pump at the moment, but if I just run it with no load, it'll be fine. Get that oil pressure up, then we'll throw the plugs in, hook them up, and then we'll get some fuel to the carburetor, and this baby should start. So stay tuned. I always add a little more oil than it shows on the dipstick, because there's gonna be a lot of oil going through the engine that isn't in the engine at the time. Like, you're gonna have some oil that goes to the heads here. You're gonna have it inside the crankshafts, inside the bearings and everything. So I always like to overfill just a bit, maybe like that much, and then we'll do that test. We'll get this oil pumped through, and then we'll double check it before we put power to it. Okay, I didn't show you the whole amount. It took about, I want to say 30 seconds of turning it over, and I got good PSI. It went clear up to like 30 just in like turning it over. So that's a good sign. I could feel a lot of air coming out. So we'll put the plugs back in, tighten them down, make sure everything's adjusted right. We'll put some gas to this. All right, so got everything hooked up, got my wires to the carburetor, got your shutoff valve here, choke, got the spark plugs hooked up, I believe in the right order. Always double check that. Got my fuel source far away. We'll double check the oil. and then we'll start this thing up. All right, I may have to adjust the points. Not totally sure on that. Got fuel. I'll check the timing. All right, guys, there you have it. I'm really happy with how this engine turned out. It runs beautiful. I didn't have to mess with the adjustment too much. It always is kind of a pain to keep it at 2,000 RPM. So I had to take the spring off the adjustment screw so I could screw it all the way in to keep it at that 2,000 RPM. That's just to break the cam in. So I ran it for about 20-25 minutes. Had good oil pressure. At idle, it was at over 15 PSI at idle. I'm just using the 30 weight, and it's probably about 85 degrees out today, maybe 90. I think it's in the 90s. But yeah, really happy with how it turned out. I have a thermometer, and I was checking the head temps, also the oil temp. Just laser it right there. It was staying cool. That's always a good sign. So alrighty, if you haven't, be sure to subscribe. Next up is this 1964 356 SC engine. So alrighty, thanks for watching. Take care.